Ding, 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 ding. Welcome to another episode of Snack Size DFS. A little bit of a different start for you here today. Dan Besperis will be here later on in the show to drop in a few messages and have a chat with you guys very quickly. I'm going to be doing the show reads from the start here. We will get the music sorted out. You do not have to listen to me sing. Something will happen there. We'll get a bit of music happening for you here, guys. But welcome to Snack Size DFS. This is your Snack Size DFS for Tuesday, March the 11th, 2025. 4 games on. If you haven't been here before, welcome. Snack Size DFS is basically a show to bring you a very quick breakdown of the DraftKings DFS NBA game cards. We try to do this as quick as possible. I do record early, so we get in quickly, we get in early, and it's just to get you primed and pumped, to get you started to think about your coming day's DraftKings slate. As I said, 4 games on here. Let's jump to this one. 4 games on. It's a fairly small day. Tuesday, March the 11th. Game notes. Game pace games for you here. Washington taking on Detroit. That's already been totaled at 233 by Vegas, and I expect the Milwaukee versus Indiana game to be fairly quick as well. The slow one for the day will probably be the Clippers taking on the Pelicans. No game total yet. Attack and stack. It is the Clippers taking on the Pelicans. The Pelicans giving up fantasy points. They have slowed down their gameplay a little bit lately, so that does limit some scoring on the other side of the ball, but I still expect the Clippers to do well versus the Pelicans. And Detroit, a pretty easy one, taking on the Wizards. Pace bumps, it's Detroit taking on the Wizards again, and Brooklyn right near the bottom of the table for pace at the moment, taking on Cleveland near the top, so they'll get a decent pace bump too. Let's jump into the first game. There are a few back-to-backs here. There is quite a bit of news going on. Our first game here, Brooklyn taking on Cleveland in Cleveland. It's a back-to-back for Brooklyn, so we need to watch the news for guys like Cam Johnson, D'Angelo Russell, etc. At the moment, Claxton and Cam Johnson have been ruled in. Cam Thomas and Trendon Watford out. That's all happening on the Monday that is playing as I'm talking. We have some history here during the season on these teams. 2 close ones and 1 30-point blowout. So be careful of that when you're playing the high-price guys here, especially for Cleveland. For the Brooklyn team, Cam Thomas out on the Monday. I expect him to play on the Tuesday. 6,200 is just too cheap for Cam Thomas for me. A guy who can score in bunches and put up peripheral stats as well. Minutes pushing mid to high 20s. If he can get closer to 30 in this one, 6,200 is a great price for Cam Thomas. Keon Johnson is going to be a play for me at 4,700, only if D'Angelo Russell does not play on the back-to-back here. Keon was playing 29 to 30 minutes before Russell came back from his injury. And similarly, Zaire Williams at 4,400 is going to be a drop-in replacement play here for me if Cam Johnson doesn't go on the back-to-back. The other guy just to watch here, Claxton's been playing back-to-backs, but he does continue to pop up on the injury report and then play. Obviously, if Nick Claxton doesn't go, then we want to just lob Daron Sharp in every lineup, basically. On the Cleveland team, there's no real injury news yet at the time of recording. I'm not overly interested in the price. I think it was 8,800 for Donovan Mitchell here versus Brooklyn. That's too high for me in a potential blowout. Darius Garland, though, at 7,100. Hasn't been getting it done lately, Darius, but look, I just continue to see this price and think that's a chance to pop off every single day. His shooting has just been putrid for multiple games now. At some point that has to bounce back. I like this price taking on the Nets. Evan Mobley at 8,300. He had 44 and 51 DK points in the close games versus Brooklyn, and then only 31 in the blowout. Hence, some trepidation on playing high-price guys in these potential blowout games. If Brooklyn can keep it close, then 8,300, that dollar price there for Mobley is going to be just fine. Jarrett Allen, I really like this one versus the Brooklyn Centers. 6,100. He dropped 45 on Brooklyn in one of the close games previously. He didn't play in the other close game. But if Brooklyn can keep this anywhere going to 6 minutes to go in the last quarter, then Allen should burn through this 6,100 price quite simply. Washington taking on Detroit in Detroit. Expect the pace bump here for Detroit versus a very fast Washington team. It is a back-to-back for Washington also coming into the Monday-Tuesday, so this is the second part of the back-to-back. On the Monday at the moment, Rashawn Holmes, Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart were all ruled out. If Holmes comes in on the back-to-back, and especially if Alex Sarr does not play this back-to-back, which is a possibility, then 5,200 is going to be a great price. We know the guy can put up DK scoring in low minutes. 37 DK points in 20 minutes in the last one. That was versus Toronto, not Detroit, but still, I really like this play if Sarr sits on the back-to-back. Bilal Coulibaly is the definition of yo-yo scoring, has been for about, 6 weeks. 6,500 is a pinata play of the highest order. He can go 25, he can go 45. I really like this if Jordan Poole doesn't play on the back-to-back. He is playing on the Monday, so more usage to come if Poole is out, and Coulibaly would still be a pinata play at 6,500. Play him at your peril. Bub Carrington, though, 5,800. Got the start today on the Monday versus, I can't remember who they're playing to be honest, but got the start on the Monday alongside Jordan Poole, 5,800. It's a bit of a low upside play for Bub, to be honest. He doesn't usually pop off into the 45s or anything like that, but if Poole doesn't play, then 5,800 is going to be a great slot-in play for Bub Carrington. On the Detroit side of the ball, it's a little different playing against Washington. They're going to have the pace up. Washington give up points everywhere. We have to be wary of the blowout, I guess, but I really like Cade Cunningham here at 8-10-2. His last game was down around 37 DK points, I want to say off the top of my head. I believe this is a great bounce-back spot for Cade. He had really low assists and rebounds in his last game, 4 of each or something like that. We know that Cade Cunningham is a near-on triple-double machine, so I like the price here versus Washington, and especially at the point guard position. Similarly, Jalen Duren is the other guy I really want to have goes at here. One of my favourite plays today on the Tuesday, 6,600, beaten this in 4 out of his last 5 this price, and this is going to be a great play versus Washington, whether Sarr or whether Holmes is the guy who starts. Love that price for Jalen Duren. Couple of low-end dart throw pinata plays here. Dennis Schroeder at 4,400. This is a blowout play more than anything for me. Yeah, he's been getting some mid-20 minutes lately. The upside is going to be fairly capped as long as he's not starting, though. And that high game where he hit about 45 DK points, Tobias Harris was out. The injury report there, I haven't updated that. Apologies. That's an old one. But yeah, if we have guys out on the Detroit side of the ball, then Dennis Schroeder definitely is going to have a shot at higher DK points at $4,400. Isaiah Stewart's an interesting one at $3,200, right down the bottom of the table. And at the bottom of the pricing table, yo-yo scoring for sure. He's been getting anywhere between like 15 to 25 DK points, but there is a chance of a blowout here. Could we see more Isaiah Stewart at $3,200? It's possible he could get up to 25 minutes, making him a decent basement price play. Let's head back quickly to Dan in the studio for a couple of messages.
We interrupt this programming to remind you all to like the video, subscribe to Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball to get all of Brenton's DFS breakdowns, and drop a 5-star review if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes. We also interrupt these proceedings to remind you that BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. Boasting the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be that number one sports betting source. From every hat trick to three-pointer, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. I hope you remember to hit that subscribe button when I said it just a second ago, but if you didn't, I'm reminding you again. And with that, we send it back to Brenton for more.
Thanks, Dan. Let's jump into the third game here. Milwaukee taking on Indiana. I expect this to be the quick game of the day. No back-to-back for Milwaukee here. At the time of recording, Giannis and Dame both probable and Pat Connaughton questionable. He continues to pop up questionable and then not play. And honestly, it doesn't really matter for us at the moment. The two big guys are the main guys I look at every day at Milwaukee. I have little interest in anything going on around them because it's always a bit of a washing machine. Giannis at 11-4. He did drop 57 versus Indiana earlier in the season. His assists have been down in the last couple of games, which has kind of capped his upside. If those assists can come back up to anywhere near the norm of 7, 8, 9 assists, then he could get through this price at 11-4. Preferably, I'm looking at Damian Lillard here, though, at the substantial price difference, 9K, 52, and also a lower one of 25 DK points versus Indiana earlier in the season. But if you check the box score, he shot 3 of 14 in that game. His field goal attempts have been more around the 17 to 19, and I expect Dame to get through this price fairly easy at 9K versus Indiana. Your 3 pinata plays, let's basically break this down. It's almost the same guys every time lately. It's Kevin Porter Jr. 3,700, Gary Trent Jr. 4,100, and Taurean Prince 4,200. Here's the way I'm looking at him. KPJ is your not very safe floor high upside play. Gary Trent Jr. kind of slots in the middle there. He can have a breakout game when he hits his threes. He does have a decent floor. It's not the most solid floor. So if you feel like you want to play a little bit safer, Gary Trent Jr. And then safer again is Taurean Prince. Like, he has a much better floor usually at 4,200, but he definitely has lower upside. So maybe depending on the type of DFS player you are, I tend to be fairly safe and secure wherever I can be. I would probably take Taurean Prince or Trent Jr. in those circumstances. On the Indiana team, it is a Monday Tuesday back to back here for the Pacers. So playing today, McConnell, questionable. He was ruled in just before I recorded here on the Monday, and Halliburton is ruled out on the Monday. Tyrese himself at 8,800. Watch the back-to-back here. He was ruled out Monday. Does he play Tuesday? Yeah, probably. But he does have some injury concerns again this season, so just watch the news there. 8,800. He had 37 DK points only versus Milwaukee earlier this season, but again, like Dame, 3 of 13 field goals, so he could easily surpass that 8,800. I'm probably safer playing Dame on the other side of the ball, but you could definitely GPP with Halliburton here. Also, if Halliburton doesn't go, Andrew Nemhard at 5,800 and Pascal Siakam, who basically went bonkers with Halliburton out last time, at 8,200 would be your plays. Aaron Naismith, 5,100. Yo-yo scorer, kind of a safe floor, not much upside. That's the best way to describe Aaron Naismith. But if you happen to land at that $5,100 price, I don't mind it at all. He is getting 34 to 35 minutes in his last games. 6 out of 7 of his last games, in fact, which makes him fairly solid in the floor department. Benedict Mathurin, this is the opposite, 4,900. Watch the back-to-back, though. He may not play the back-to-back as he is playing the Monday. He has had 39 and 41 versus Milwaukee this season. Just keep in mind they were earlier in the season where Mathurin was a much larger part of the core of this team and playing higher minutes on a regular basis. At 4,900, look, I'd prefer this if Halliburton went out because the usage will go. It is a GPP kind of dart throw, and just like he did go berserk in the last game versus Atlanta. I'm not much of a chaser as a DFS player. I usually look at longer stretches of high scores rather than just a one-off, but Mathurin is in play here at 4,900. I love it more if Tyrese doesn't go. Last game of the day is the Clippers taking on the Pelicans. Again, another back-to-back in this game. It's a Tuesday-Wednesday back-to-back here, though, for the Clippers, so keep an eye on things. At least we are heading into the back-to-back here, which tends to make things easier at the moment. Kawhi Leonard's been ruled in on the first half of the back-to-back, and we know that Norm Powell and Ben Simmons are still out for the Clippers. Excuse me. James Harden at 9,900 versus the Pelicans. Anything could happen here. His only game under 55 DK points in his last 4 was versus New York. The Pelicans are not New York. Yeah, a large game is possible here. I probably prefer, though, Kawhi Leonard here at 8,100. I was going through the team lineups here and who could possibly play, and I just don't see the matchup for Kawhi. The Pelicans do have decent on-ball guys to defend, Alvarado, etc. Kawhi Leonard here at 8,100. I'm not sure who the Pelicans put on him to try and slow the dude down in the mid-range. It's all matchup based for me. The minutes are all the way up now, which does help. I really like Kawhi here at 8,100. Nick Batum is your low-price pinata play, 3,700. The minutes are up here over some other guys like Derek Jones Jr., etc. I prefer a little bit safer here with Nick Batum while the minutes are up. 25, 34, and 28 minutes in his last three. He's a decent low price option. The last team of the game of the day, my Pelicans, taking on the Clippers. Zion and McCollum both ruled in here. Alvarado has popped up as questionable, and the bigger news is that Kelly Olynyk is already ruled out for this Tuesday game. As far as Zion and CJ go, I find them appropriately priced here. Yeah, Zion could absolutely burn through any team the way he is aggressively playing at the moment, but just at 9,200, I think that's just slightly high versus a paced down and tough defense of the Los Angeles Clippers. The guy I really like here is Carlo Matkovic, and that's a fairly obvious play at 3,700. We know that Kelly Olynyk is out. It's a fairly simple drop-in play, not much more to talk about there. May need to eat the chalk on that one. Trey Murphy, out of the high-price guys, as I said, not that interested in Zion or CJ here. Trey himself at 7,700. It's a $400 price drop, which we like to see. Scoring has been down a little bit since Zion has kind of taken over this team, which is what, as a Pels fan, I really want to see, but it has capped some scoring for Trey Murphy. However, 7,700 is a great price, and if he can just knock in a few threes, which we know he can do, I think that $7,700 is in danger here of getting burnt. Jose Alvarado, questionable 4,600, back-to-back 35 DK points, but before that, very low minutes, so it would be only a pinata play for me. It's a bit hard to work out what Willie Green's going to do with Alvarado. Jordan Hawkins is an absolute wild pinata play for me, 4,200, just because Jose is questionable. I find this guy very meh for DFS. Very few peripheral stats. He can get a few boards for a small guard, but yeah, it's a pinata play in case he pops off and hits 7 3-pointers. Antonio Reeves, one to watch, maybe a little bit more for the future, but at 3K, even in this game, if Jose Alvarado can't go, he's had 21 and 22 minutes with most of the guards in the last two. So watch for the Jose news. Antonio Reeves, a bottom of the barrel pricing guy. That's it for the 4 games today. My favourite plays here on Snack Size DFS. Cam Thomas taking on Cleveland. Keon Johnson taking on Cleveland as well. That's only if D'Angelo Russell doesn't play the back-to-back. Jarrett Allen versus Brooklyn Centers. Jalen Duren versus Washington Centers. Rashawn Holmes versus Detroit. That's only really if Sarr can't go. Bub Carrington versus Detroit on the back-to-back if Poole doesn't play. My favourite high price guy here is Damian Lillard versus Indiana. I also love Kawhi Leonard versus the Pelicans, and Carlo Matkovic versus the Clippers is an easy injury replacement for Kelly Olynyk at the bottom of the barrel pricing. That's it for me today here at Snack Size DFS, part of the Old Man Squad Network. Please like and subscribe. As always, we love your support and we love to see those subscriptions. You can find me at Terrain72 on Twitter and at terrain72.bsky.social on Blue Sky. That's it for me today. I've been your host, Brenton Eckersley, and it's back to Dan.
Thank you, Brenton. Another outstanding episode of Snack Size DFS in the hopper. If you made it to this point, you know you got to like and subscribe on that bad boy. And if you stayed till this point, you know you got to enjoy UnderdogFantasy.com. Play Pick'em with us over there. Just pick higher or lower on any 2 or more player projections from the website. Rebounds, points, assists, steals, blocks, threes. It's all there. First quarter, second quarter, first half, second half, for a chance to win up to 1,000 times your entry fee. And if you sign up now with our promo code OLDMAN, you can get up to $1,000 in deposit match bonus cash and a free square to use whenever you so choose on a Pick'em card. UnderdogFantasy.com. Picking higher or lower is so easy. It's your call. Play it with us. We've been winning, and you can use Brenton's information to take you to that finish line. This has been Snack Size DFS. Follow Brenton on the interwebs at Terrain72. I'm Dan Vespers, just here to talk to you about some of our amazing partners at Old Man Squad and to hammer you until you hit that damn subscribe button and that like button. Comments are open for Brendan if you have any questions about the DFS slate. If not, We'll be back with you very soon. You've got multiple episodes of my show every day. You've got episodes from our good buddy Slick Rock on the specialists. You've got episodes from our good friend Joe Orico on baseball draft season. So many reasons to hang with us here at Old Man Squad. For Brenton, I'm Dan. We'll see you soon.